Hey little cuties, Demi Bemi here, and welcome back to another speed build video. This one I just recently did. I think this is the last build that I did, or the most recent one rather. And I was inspired to do this because of James from the Sim Supply. He did a video of a 3x3 grid challenge build, whatever the hell I'm trying to say. But he was saying, like, he would like to see if anyone could make a smaller build, so I did a 3x3, but minus 1 square, so there's 8 total squares rather than 9. And I'm not sure how much smaller you can make it with the, like, full-size, like, appliances and all that kind of stuff. And keeping, like, a full bathroom, full kitchen kind of a deal. So I crunched in a full kitchen, a full bathroom, a dining area, a TV, a double-sized bed in this build using the loft technique, which I think is really which is like the only way you can make this build. So I do have some of the same troubles that James had where the, like, stuff was, like, disappearing when he was, like, painting the walls and stuff. So don't worry, I make sure that everything is in there. All of this is play tested, everything you can use. So here, this is basically the layout that I settle with. Just because in my brain, I couldn't figure out a more efficient way to do this. So up along that 3-space wall, we have the kitchen, and then in that 2-square space, we have the bathroom. And I actually do fit in a sink in that area. I honestly think I could have worked on that a little bit better, but you know, you live and you learn. But here I'm using the lane markers for the pool as like a flooring type deal, and that's what James used. He felt it was the best, and I like how, I like how it looks. I think it looks probably the best out of everything that you could use. And then in this build, I kind of wanted to go for a little more of like a New York chic, lofty kind of something or other, which I don't know if I quite accomplished that, but it's okay in the end. And then here I'm just squeezing together the shower and the toilet to fit in a sink. And the sink does clip into the wall, as you'll see here in a second. It is usable though. It does clip into the wall, but you can use all 3 of those items in that 2-square space, which is kind of insane. I'm so impressed. Like, I'm not just like with myself, but just like with the fact that like that's even a possibility at all. So then I noticed there was like that weird open spot there on the right side, and I was like, I don't really like that. So I added in another floor piece. And I wanted to see if he could use it to the side, because I was like, in real life, like, your chair would probably fall off the edge, or you would fall off the edge down to the second area, I guess. But since it's The Sims, they can't, so whatever. And then here, I'm kind of trying to get a feel of, like, what I need, kind of how the layout is feeling. And I'm like, it's really dark in here. Maybe we should get some windows. And my thought was, I watch a lot of like tiny home builds, and I've noticed that they used like big windows usually to make it feel more open. So that's kind of like the idea I was going for. Since we can't stack windows on the same tile above each other, I just used the really long ones. And then here, for like added privacy, I borrowed the shelves over the window idea for like a blind or like shades kind of, but then I wanted it to be more of like plants were climbing up to give it the, oh my gosh, I keep thinking of the word security, and that's not what I want. Privacy, to give it the added privacy that I wanted. And then I added these shorter windows, but moved them up toward the top, just so, like, you can't see into the bathroom. Obviously, the Sims don't have an issue with the windows, because they can't, quote-unquote, be seen, I guess. But I didn't like it, so I just used the shorter windows and moved them to the top of the wall. And trying to get as many windows in as possible. And I know that it might still feel cramped because there's like climbing plants all over the windows. But if you want, you can remove the plants so it does feel more open. And throughout this, I do continue to play test to make sure everything's usable. Also adding in a little bit of a foundation so it doesn't feel so much like there was just like this cardboard box plopped onto a lot, and then that's the house. And it has this bookcase, and I fiddled with this for so long trying to figure it out. I just cut out the entirety of me trying to figure out how to get that bookcase to be usable. So if you can figure out a place to put a bookcase that your Sim can actually use it, let me know, because I was absolutely, I don't even know. I was so frustrated. I couldn't figure it out. And I think I ended up leaving it in there. I'll delete it later. And then I started working on more of like the exterior of the house. I wasn't sure if I was done with the inside or not. But again, I kind of went with this sort of like brick kind of like New York-y type building. I'm still like really, I'm super hopeful that we get apartments and we get the City Life pack. I hope it's real. So all of my builds I've noticed are like apartment-y or like small buildings that you would probably see like in a city. So if I don't get my City Life, I'm just going to cry. I'm going to cry. I will cry. But anyway, so as I said, this is a build that I was imagining to be in a large city. And I was like, we need a privacy fence. But since it's such a small house, like a living area, I wanted to have like a little bit bigger of like a back patio and a little bit of a yard. Obviously, this isn't very kid-friendly. This is more of like a single adult. I don't believe this is starter price. I think I put too much additional stuff on the outside to, I mean, you can go through and delete it and then it will probably be starter home priced. But anyway, so then I was kind of going through and trying to find some more like decorative type pieces to make it feel a little more lived in and homey. And then here I was using I don't know, what are these, like floor lights, floor markers, something or other. It came with Spa Day. I don't know what the heck they are, but I decided to set them into this window here because the loft ceiling is open right there. And so I figured that's where the ladder would be, that it was probably like built in, like bolted onto like the window or the wall or whatever, to give it I imagine this to be more built in. Anyway, that took me forever to lift those pieces and get them all perfect, so I just skipped that, but take my word for it, it took a while. And so here, I'm also very upset with myself that I did the exterior first because it keeps like blocking my view, and I sincerely apologize. And I didn't want to redo the entire exterior, so yeah, sorry. But then here I'm adding on some stuff on the walls, and of course, as I have said before, in small spaces, you make things vertical. You put a lot of storage on the walls and things like that. And then in here, I wanted it to be really moody and chic, so I keep everything quite dark, like the dark cutting board and the dark utensils. And then I was looking for a couple of things to like stick on top of the fridge. And of course the obligatory honeycomb nectar storage that I feel like I put in every single one of my builds. I don't know why. Maybe all the Sims are just alcoholics. I don't know. Oh, and then something that made me mad with these like quarter tiles. You can't, like, that little triangle of space, I just wanted to fit it in there perfectly so it would make a, like a trapezoidy type shape, but you can't do it, and I hated that stupid triangle it turned out to be. So I was like, you know what, screw that, I'm going to take it out. So I fixed that in a second, don't worry. Oh, there we go, fixed it. And then the flooring, I didn't want it to be like too dark and dreary, so I gave a very light wood flooring, which actually might be like my favorite flooring in the game, just to kind of mirror the white upstairs flooring. And then I tried to like put a rug up there, but you can't lift it up, which is kind of a bummer. And then I ended up settling for this like anti-fatigue like floor mat or whatever the heck it is that came out with Dine Out. And then I'm just play testing to see if you can watch the TV with it up there. And then I wanted to put it back because realistically, like, you wouldn't have that TV right in the middle of your dining table. No, you would have it in the corner so you could eat as well as watch TV. So that's kind of what I was doing here and just kind of figuring things out. And then as it was nighttime, while I was playtesting, I was like, oh, need some lights. So I went through and I found these, I was going to say conical, but they're not conical. They're cylindrical lights here in a second. A lot of these like small lights that I really love the idea of this light, but it's just like the light it gives off, like, I hate it. It's like not bright enough. And so then these are the lights that I end up going with to kind of continue on with that vertical sort of idea that we've got with like our like tower house. And then here I go with the horizontal one. Now that I'm looking back at it, I don't know if I'm feeling it, but I mean, if you are like, oh, I really hate that, just delete it. Not going to be offended, you know. In fact, please do delete it because I dislike it. And then on the fence here, I added in a outdoor light. I like it on the fence because I think that with it, a light on the actual wall, I think it makes it a little too convoluted there. So I just added the light on there and then add this sloped, I don't even know what style of roof that is, but that's slopey roof. And then I wanted to make like that like trim border at the bottom of the roof, but unfortunately like the house isn't 2 stories, so I can't put it there. I couldn't figure it out, so I left it, but I do hate it. I would like you to know that. And then here I deleted out the ceiling because I wanted it to be sort of like a vaulted ceiling to continue to give like extra height to it, so if you were living in it, it wouldn't feel so claustrophobic and cramped. And I was just making sure that the ceiling went away and it wasn't like weird. And now I'm working on the patio, and I was going to continue with like that brick, but then I felt like it was too much brick, so then I just go with the stone here. And then I build like a tiny little yard, and there's like a fountain. It's great. I do make the patio and the yard area a little bit bigger, so it could be usable. Like, you could put other jeez, good lord, other things in there, like whatever you want. And then I put in some little fountain detail, and I had those like spouting out from the same area, but then I moved those because like when it was on, you couldn't even tell that they were there. So I moved those, add in a bunch of lily pads because I love lily pads. They are so great. I love them. Then I put in the petal water, which I think was kind of sweet. Like the lilies were losing their petals and they were just floating in the water. And then looking for a foundation here, I just go with the black. I mean, I'm not like super stoked on this build. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like it was one of those like heat of the moment. I was super stoked, just really wanted to build it. I might go back and see if this is a build I could optimize or maybe make a little different and see if it works out, or maybe even try to make a smaller build. I don't even know if that's possible. Try like seven squares instead of 8. But I think it's okay for what it is. I think it's decent. And then here I'm just trying to add some more character to the yard than just like flat like grass, without being overbearing with flowers, but then I end up being overbearing with flowers anyway. It's a vicious cycle. I like can't stop. I just like, once I like really started getting into like landscaping, like once I start landscaping, like I can't stop. So it's either I over landscape or I don't landscape at all. Like there is no in between with me. Like there is no chill, or there is too much chill. Anyway, so just trying to add in some more character. I wanted it to feel like a little more like of a traditional garden. And then adding in, I was trying to make it not so symmetrical with the hedges, so I just add the hedges on this side. I was like, I don't like how those hedges poke out, and there's no, like, anything there. So then I make the yard bigger, and I think the yard is better bigger. And so then it doesn't look so cramped with all those freaking flowers in it. And then something I actually did forget that you may need to slap in there if you download this is stairs for the backyard. So if you want your sim to get down there into the actual yard, you're gonna need to put some stairs. I'm sorry, I forgot. Because in real life, I could just walk down that. So I forgot that sims cannot, in fact, get down that. It's too tall. It's too tall. And then I was like, what kind of like trees could I put in? So I put in these like, I don't know if it's like birch or aspen. To me, they look very similar. I think those are the trees I'm thinking of. Those are the only trees I put in there to kind of aesthetically balance like the dense shrubs on the side. And then I'm just sort of checking things out, seeing what I need to change. I add in this mailbox, and then I also add in an outdoor bin. And I totally forgot, I don't know if I uploaded it with that other white mailbox or not. So, because I know that at some point I realized after recording that it was there and I deleted it, but I think I had already uploaded this to the gallery. So, sorry about that as well. This was like a super like impulse, like I gotta do this right now, like build. Like I literally watched James' video and then boom, I was on The Sims like building this. So it was like heat of the moment, like passion build. I was just like so excited to freaking build this thing. And then out here I was like, it's looking a little empty. And so an easel is something that I also just, I feel like always really want to slap in there. And then just kind of try to spruce it up a little bit and add a few things so it wasn't so blank. And then I was looking up there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a double bed. Like, screw that. Like, there's nothing else I can put up there. I'll just put a double bed. And then I don't know, I'm wondering now that I think about it, if you have your sim sit on the bed, could they scooch to the other side? Like maybe you could have 2 sims live here. I don't know. But I think it'd be really interesting to see if you could build a really small house but have 2 sims be able to live there. I think that would be interesting. Oh, and then here we go. I'm changing the fountain. I think that like little fountain on the like left side there wasn't at the right angle, but whatever. What can you do? And then I was just playtesting everything outside to make sure it wasn't like too close to the edge, like they couldn't get into the seats or something. And then I added in a little bit of a counter just because he had set that food on the ground, and I was like, I don't like that. So I added that in, and I think I'm trying to find something to put on this wall, which I'm realizing now, instead of like a painting or something, like I could have put like a robe or like a hanging towel or something. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, I guess, and I don't actually find anything to put up there. Instead, I end up finding, I think like the salt and pepper shaker, and put that on top of the fridge as well, because that nectar was looking a little bit lonely. Gosh, I went through so many things. I don't even know if I was looking for something specific. Oh, I think I ended up finding like a tree wall something or other and slap that up there. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I realized I hate it and it's not cool. So I delete it shortly after this. Oh, here we go. Looking for, I don't know if I was specifically even looking for the salt and pepper, but I slapped that on top of the fridge. And at first, like, it just didn't place. It disappeared. So I don't know if I accidentally put it, like, inside of the bushes in the back or, like, inside of the fridge or something. But who knows? If you find it, let me know. Anyway, here are the screenshots. I really appreciate you guys checking out this build. I'm really enjoying the builds. If you guys have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. But I'm going to leave you guys here. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you little cuties in the next one. Bye!